Hello, fabulous friends. Welcome to another edition of Cooking Shenanigans with Mrs. Anderson. Today we are going to be making buttermilk biscuits from the Hamery. This is the Hamery's Angel Biscuit recipe. So first we are going to mix buttermilk and baking soda together. We have 2 cups of buttermilk and baking soda. Now, the recipe calls for 1 cup, so we doubled that and made 2 cups. The 2 cups of buttermilk and the baking soda. So it calls for a half a teaspoon of baking soda. So how much do we need? That's right, a full teaspoon. But I'm going to use this 1/4 teaspoon. So how many will I need for a full teaspoon? That's right, 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4 makes 1 whole. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that I'm leveling it off before I'm pouring it in. So that makes 1 teaspoon because we doubled the recipe. So that is one of our mixtures, and we are going to now mix sugar and yeast and 1 cup of 103-degree water into a 16-ounce cup. Now this is my best guess of what a 16-ounce cup is. I have a smaller size, which I think is a 12-ounce cup. So I think this would make the larger size a 16-ounce cup. I don't have verification of that, but we are going to think that that's the right way. And either way, I think it'll turn out just fine. So how much sugar do we need? We need 2 teaspoons of sugar. So if we're going to double the recipe, how many do we need? That's right, 4. So if we are using 1/2 teaspoon, then how many do we need to make 2? Calls for 2. We need 4. So we need 8 1/2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the water, it calls for 1 cup of 103-degree water. I just thought, you know what, 103 degrees is not scalding hot, not burning hot. So I got a little warm to the touch, but not so hard, not so hot that I couldn't even touch it. And it's been sitting there for a moment, so it's still warm, and I think it's probably about 103 degrees. So that's how much water we needed, and we needed, what else? The yeast. So we have the yeast over here. We have the 1 teaspoon, TSP. There's not a B in there, or else that would be a tablespoon. We have the 1 teaspoon measuring cup in there, and of yeast we need 2. So we're just going to take 1. Oh, we're going to put it over here. 1, 2, now look at what just happened. We used 1 of these little packets for 2 teaspoons, but we need 4. So we're just going to open the next pack, and we know that that's going to be the other 2 that we need. So we're just going to pour it in, and now we know that we've doubled the recipe, and we have 4 teaspoons. I'm going to go ahead and take this teaspoon. This is what we use at the table for a teaspoon. I'm going to mix all of that up. We're going to wait wait until that is overflowing out of the cup. I wonder which ingredient would make it overflow out of the cup. Do you think it was the sugar? That's 1. Do you think it was the water? That's 2. Or do you think it was the yeast? That's 3. What is it that makes bread rise? What ingredient do you have to make bread rise? That's right, yeast. We will stir this mixture as well. Now, this big bowl is because we're doing the recipe called for 4 cups. If we double the recipe, we'll now need, that's right, 4 plus 4 equals 8. So we need 8 cups of flour and 3/4 cup of Crisco, which is the shortening. Now it calls for butter Crisco, but this is all vegetable Crisco. So it's not butter flavored as it requests. So that's going to be our one change that we've made to this recipe. So this is 3/4 cup. I know you probably can't see where it says it, but it does. 3-4 cup. 3/4 of a cup. We're just going to put that in there. But remember, we have to double it. So we need 3/4 cup again. But you know what, friends? Instead of getting another 3/4 cup, let's do some math with it. What are other ways that we could make 3/4? Here's the 1/2 cup. So if we have 1/2, how much more do we need to make the rest of this 3/4? Well, 1/2 is 2 out of 4. So we need 1 more 1/4. That's right, 1/4 cup. And here it is, 1/4 cup. So we had 3/4 cup, and then we had 1/2 cup and 1/4 cup, and together all of that is how much we need to double our recipe, my friends. And it says we are going to mix it until it crumbles. It's going to be a lot of mixing because it's going to take a lot of work to move this Crisco into all of this flour. To work it all in there. I'll move you even closer so you can see in there as I mix. Right now it just looks like a lot of flour, and there are some big clumps in there, but we have to work all of those clumps out. You see what I'm doing? I'm just mashing it down. Mash, 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 mash. Keep an eye on this cup because I'm going to wait till it overflows. I want to watch it and see how much how long it takes to do that. I'm going to watch it move through that cup. Has it risen at all? All right, our yeast mixture is in fact overflowing out of this 16-ounce cup. So we are going to pour it into our flour mixture. It doesn't say to stir it, it just says go ahead and pour in the buttermilk mixture. Now I can mix it all together. Make sure to get the sides and underneath. Make sure that the flour on the bottom is mixed in real good. But it's never a good idea to over-mix dough. Now the yeast mixture is in here, so what's going to happen to this dough? Do you think it's going to shrink, to get smaller? Do you think it's going to stay the same? Or do you think it's going to get bigger with that yeast? We'll see. All right, now we're going to leave the dough alone at this point. And we're going to cover it with plastic wrap. All right, fabulous friends, I think it rose about as much as it's going to rise. And we are going to make lots of biscuits. Look at all that dough. Now the first things first, we're going to dump out some flour. Like this. And then we are going to put that mixture on top. This smells like yeast. All right, so all that's out. Doesn't look as big as it did inside that bowl. smush it out. Flat. Here. Flat, 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 flat. Flatten it out. Flat, 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 flat. Pushing it out. Remember, we doubled the recipe, so it's twice as big. I'm going to use some of this extra and put it on top. Cut excess, extra. Just put it on top and spread it out. I'm just gonna use some more of what we had, but why when we have extra already here that it won't be used? Now I am a flour mess and that is okay. All right, now we're going to pull it from all sides. In, 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 and then we're gonna make a ball out of it. One big ball. Now notice that it's not going together so well anymore, and that's because the flour, it doesn't stick together with flour. That's why we floured this, so it wouldn't just stick to the paper. All right, so we have it into a ball, and we're gonna put it flat side up like that. And then we're going to roll it all back out. Whoops, it's separating. Roll and roll and roll. And then we're going to wait for it to rise again. All right, friends, we are back. And now we're going to cut some biscuits. Everybody to guess how many biscuits we're going to have.
You make a biscuit.
Let's see. We're going to make a rectangle. So we have a rectangle. Then, right, rectangle. Then we're going to cut it. The rectangle became 2 squares. These 2 squares became 4 triangles. These 2 triangles. Smaller triangles. Triangle. Rhombus. Square. Rectangle. Sphere. Square. 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 Cube. Let's see.
Oh, a biscuit. One box biscuit has a pumpkin on it. What's one?
Cone.
Not cone. A cone biscuit. This one. Pumpkin biscuit and every biscuit. With every cube.
That's a cube. That's a cone.
Why? Oh, a biscuit. We're not making them. It's getting up. It's making the shells pop up. What? I don't
You
know.
have a cylinder.
You don't? How is it?
Yep. You have a cylinder. No, cylinder.
What?
Cylinder.
How is small? Oh,
Cylinder.
I have a big cylinder. For me. The biggest cylinder. The whole world.
Cylinder.
The biggest cylinder for me.
Cylinder.
I need the biggest cylinder.
Yep.
What is that, Mommy? What was that? What's that, Mommy?
Yep. This is our cylinder.
Oh,
That's our sphere. cylinder, cone, cube.
And every biscuit in angle. Look at
Circle. See all the circles? Circle. Triangle.
where's the
Square.
where's the biscuit?
Rhombus.
What's the biggest toy?
And put them all together and it's a rectangle.
Where's the biscuit who has a pumpkin on it? Mine. No, I don't mine. Me.
Yes, Eric, you can have the pumpkin.
Pumpkin biscuit.
The pumpkin biscuit.
You're making huge.
And that's okay because I will clean it up.
That's reasonable. When you're finishing, you're that bit and the biscuits for us, for me,
Yep.
and for you.
Biscuits.
And what's the oh! What's that? What's that, Mommy? What's that?
Okay.
she might go around and around in the water. We'll transform her. I'm a best time. On the handle. Oh.
Meet Biscuit Man.
What?
And that's been another edition of Cooking Shenanigans with Mrs. Anderson.